All right, so we are live now. And for those of you that are watching, welcome to another episode of Circast. And this is actually our first live episode. And we have a special guest visiting us again, and that's David Resnick. And for those of you that don't know, he is an acrobat who was previously in Totem, and soon will be transferring over to Corteo. So, David, thank you for being here with us. We're very excited to have you and to see what's been going on with your life since you left Totem.
Like what, a year?
Yeah,
exactly. I think pretty close.
pretty much. It's been a while.
Yeah. Now I got some golden locks.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. It's nice to be here.
So we'll start really quick with sort of the news lately. It's been a while since we've been together for an episode. And first, I guess we can start with Crystal. I mean, we previously talked about Crystal, but now we've seen a little bit of the, I guess it was a sneak peek during one of their practice or rehearsals. And I don't know, what did you guys think of for those of you that saw it?
2 thumbs up for me.
Yeah.
But I love the cheese. I think it looks really cool. I mean, the fact that there isn't going to be like a matted area and it is all ice, that intrigues me very much. It's very brave of them. It could go one of two ways, really silly and cheesy, or it could be Cirque. I'm willing to find out.
Yeah, I mean, I was excited when I saw the preview, or not the preview, but the actual, the teaser trailer. I guess I still need to see more for it to really convince me. I'm not sure. I think the sneak peek kind of made me go back a little bit and be like, okay, maybe I do need to see more. I will see it for sure. I'm excited that they're trying something new. And I guess that's what they really want to do, keep trying different things that they haven't done, and obviously this is one of those. I guess you can kind of compare it to Windhoek, which is like sort of a winter show, but it wasn't really on ice. What did you think, Richard?
Well, it was intriguing. From the 2 or 3, I guess, the acts that they put on in the teaser or whatever, they looked really interesting, looked really good. I was struck more with the projections, how really crisp and clear and how they really got everything. But what I saw of the acrobatic stuff, I looked at it and go, well, why do we need the ice? So everything else would have worked just fine without the ice. So either there's more things coming, and obviously there's other things coming, that will hopefully use the ice. So like you, Jose, I'm just going to have to wait and see. I mean, I do want to see more, and I do applaud them for stepping out and doing these new things. But from what I saw, as I said, I don't know why we need the ice in this.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what the full show. And I mean, they have projections. The projections are cool. We know that they're capable of doing cool stuff with the projections, like, for example, Taruk, which is heavily relies on those projections, and they're awesome. It's visually stunning. So hopefully we get to see something like that with Crystal.
Yeah, they also, in Totem, they have the automated ones where when you walk on stage, like in the water ripples away, and things like that. And I worked on a cruise ship before Cirque, and we had an ice show, and it was our job as acrobats to spotlight the ice show. And there's one thing about an ice show, like when you see an ice show live, the way the skates sound on the ice, the movement, everything's constantly in motion. If big tricks are there and they bring in acrobatics, like I think it could be really cool, because no one else has really done it. And ice skating is super artsy anyways. It's all about movement. So you combine that with Cirque style movement and costuming and live music and all the things that Cirque brings. I don't know, I think it could be something pretty good, powerful.
The only thing that worried me a little bit was, I guess they had sort of banking, and I don't know if it's because it's fairly new, but what I saw in the sneak peek, it's sort of like they have to be really careful with, when they're throwing the guys, and I don't know if it just came across like that to me, or if it's something that, you know, hopefully will be fixed. And again, I know this is difficult stuff, but don't get me wrong. There's no way I could ever do that. I don't even know how to ice skate. So, but yeah, I mean, again, we always go through this. You know, like Richard knows we're sort of jaded. But in the end, we all know how I felt about Lucia at first, and Richard did as well. And you know, these shows sort of win me over. And you know, hopefully we'll get to see that with Volta and Dario. You know, we know how Dario feels about Volta, but
it's growing
again,
on me, dude. Leave me alone. It's slowly growing.
But as always, there's sort of that respect for the you know, the acrobats and the artists that are in these shows, because again, we know that it's not easy. I mean, David knows, of course, but yeah. But then speaking of Volta as well, the soundtrack was just released on iTunes and for streaming, and at the Big Top last week, I believe, the 21st, if I'm not mistaken.
19th and the 20th.
19th and 20th, okay. And I mean, I was already excited. Yeah, Dario already has it on his playlist. I was already excited for the show. And for the music, I'm sorry, because I'm a M83 fan, and we've heard a little bit, you know, through the clips and videos and all that. But then now hearing the actual soundtrack, I absolutely love it. At first, I was a little, you know, I wasn't sure, but as I listened to it more and more and more, I just absolutely love it. This is seriously and literally the only thing I've been listening to for the past 3-4 days at work. And
I need to hear it. I haven't heard it yet.
Oh man, it's awesome. I mean, I don't know what kind of music you like, but if you've heard of M83 or his music, it's very similar to that. I feel some people don't feel this, but I feel like there is a little bit of circus in circus in some of these songs, especially like the instrumentation. If you hear like certain parts, obviously not the entire track because it is still a little different. But I like that. I like that. I like the change. And nothing against Bob and Bill, but I just feel like it was time for, you know, a new composer.
They feel like more songs, though. It's like it's just a song. It could be on the radio. It's just a song. You could pick any track, and it's just a song. Doesn't have that beautiful breathing moments that Cirque is known for. It does, but it also feels like it could be an actual track. So it's the one thing that's a little weird to me.
Well, he is an actual producer. He does make real music, so.
I get that, and I see why they do it. It's a very hip sounding CD. It's very hip and airy and whooshy and whoo.
Really quick, guys, because we're seeing some of the you know, people that are watching our chat are basically commenting on our live chat. I want to say hi to Sean Lomax, which was the loyal whistler in Corteo. Jessica Mariel, she is from Argentina. We have Maddie Segura. He's always following us at watching our episodes. Aiden, he is watching from Sydney. And then we have Mr. Nemes 2003 saying hi from Miami. And Aiden wants to know if Sean is rejoining Corteo because he says it wouldn't be the same for him. But yeah, speaking of Corteo, we have David here, who was previously with Totem and now is in the process of joining Corteo for the Remount, a show that we never thought was going to come back because for the longest time we've heard Corteo is not going to Arena. It is a 10-year show. After it closes in the 10th, you will not see it. And you know, part of that was the stage, part of that was the patience, which is the system and all that. And then to our surprise, sometime, I can't remember if it was last year or earlier this year, it was announced that, you know, they were bringing it back. And so it's exciting, especially, I mean, Dario didn't get to see the show when it was in the Big Top. And
I'm so stoked.
Right. I think Corteo is a beautiful show. It's very simplistic. It's the most simplistic show I think they have. Now Lucia is sort of like that, but it's more colorful. And ironically, it's the same director. So, but David, since we last spoke to you, you were actually still in Totem, and you were going to leave a few months, I think a few months or something like that after.
It was before Nagoya.
Right. So tell us, how was that? How was your last few months and leading up to your last day in Totem, which was where pretty much I would say your family was, because you've been with them for a while.
Yeah, it was. I just, in my head, is all I had was finish strong, because I've seen a lot of artists that are leaving, or when they have like a set date that they're leaving, you kind like, sometimes you see them go into a hole and they kind of recluse themselves, and then things can get a little bit weird as your emotions start to swirl around, especially leaving a place like Totem that is so tight knit. And so, I mean, every show is tight knit and close. Totem has a culture of family, and it's known to be a really tight-knit group there. So it was really hard to leave some of the people, some of the characters that I, like Crystal Man, because I had really changed it so much. So of course it's difficult and it's hard to leave, but the freshness and excitement I had going in my head about something new made it pretty. Didn't make it easy to leave, but because I have something coming right after, I was excited. You know, wasn't like my career is done or career is over. I'm starting a new chapter. You know, I'm putting on a new pair of shoes, kind of thing, and so that really helped with the process.
So when you left Corteo, you were supposed to join. I'm sorry, when you left Totem, you were supposed to join Corteo pretty soon after, right? But then there was sort of a delay.
Yeah, we found out. I woke up one morning to an email that there was going to be a 5-month delay, and that was pretty much all we were told at first. And we kind of had to do our own searching as to why the 5-month delay was happening. So what basically happened was, I was supposed to leave May 4th. It was the Star Wars birthday. I remember that. May the 4th be with you. Is when I was supposed to be in Montreal. And so I found out earlier in April. And so we decided to extend until the end of Sendai. I ended up leaving a couple weeks earlier because of some family stuff, but so I was able to stay a bit longer, which when you have a date set in your brain and you're ready, you know, you've got things planned, and you're expecting to have 2 weeks off before going into a creation after doing a long run like Japan. Physically and mentally, I was a bit fatigued and tired, and I was a little bit worried about having only 10 days off between contracts, and then the 5-month delay came. So I was never upset or worried, or I just knew that I had to find out on my own why it happened, and make sure that things were still going to move forward with Corteo, and that it wasn't, you know, like a drop of a show or anything like that. And thankfully, Janik, the VP of touring operations, visited us on Totem, and I sat down and had a conversation with him, and it just reinforced why they, for the 5-month delay, which was so they could focus on Crystal, so they could put all their energy into that show and do it the right way. Because anytime you have multiple things going on, especially like something special like Corteo, and then you've got this massive new project like Crystal, I think you want to focus solely and do it right, one thing at a time. And it also had something to do with the touring. They wanted to not have both shows out at the same time. So it was positives. You know, I was happy to hear that they were making those decisions, and it gave me freedom for 5 months. Like to be able to rest, recover mentally, physically, after a long run like Japan. Other artists that have done Japan know what I'm talking about when it comes to the workload and the culture there. So it was all good. I can't speak for everybody that has the break, but that's how I saw it.
So is it because you have more shows per week in Japan? Is that why it's a little, I guess, it's
Yeah,
exhausting?
yeah. It's taking the subway to work. The commute with all the people. It's the early show. What happens is you'll have like a 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock show, and or you'll get home at like 10, 11, and then you got an 11 o'clock show the next morning. So it's a quick turnaround, and you're doing 10 shows a week with 1 day off, sometimes two. You might get a triple dark in there. So it weighs on you. And I was also going to school. So on top of doing 10 shows a week, I was also taking college classes, so that, like, I think I put a little bit too much on myself, but yeah, I was getting slammed. Yeah. It was,
So I'm guessing you didn't get an opportunity to get out and see a lot then.
No, I still did, actually. You'd be surprised, because you got time on the train, and now with internet classes, you could do everything by phone. So class discussions and quizzes and things like that. I was reading at work. I was, doing stuff on the trains. So it wasn't too bad. I was able to kind of manage. I got A's. There you go.
And are you still in school right now?
Yeah, I am.
So
I just did my NASM, the personal training course certification thing. It's pretty cool.
So you were in Vegas recently, but you're not. Right now, you're back home?
Yes, yeah. So for the summer, I lived in Vegas for 4 years, close to 4 years. And so it's kind of home for me. I have a lot of friends there. Obviously, with all the Cirque people there, it's like home. You got family there. When I started summer, I was in Boise for a month, played a lot of golf, didn't really train much. I trained a little bit, physical fitness stuff, but no high bar. It was just golf and beer and friends and, summer stuff. And then I decided to go to Vegas. I was doing a contract for EDC, performing for EDC. And my good friends, Ollie and Gael, were getting married in Vegas as well. So I wanted to go down there and spend some time. And so that's how the summer started. I didn't really plan to go to Vegas. It just kind of happened. Like after that, you get a notice for 5 months off. You start to like think about things and line things up. And after touring changes you. Like I can't stay in one place for more than a couple of weeks. It's hard for me. So, out to Vegas and performing with some of my best friends, some of my brothers that I've, haven't had the opportunity to perform with in a really long time, and doing something that's out of my comfort zone as well. I mean, something that's in my comfort zone because of gymnastics, but something that's all new. So I figured it was a good way for me to stay in shape show-wise, keep my mind sharp, and grow as an artist while I'm outside of Cirque, keep that growth going.
So how did EDC happen?
Well, my friend, I'll talk about it. My friend Chris Purdy, he was a gymnast in Las Vegas when I was a gymnast in Reno. We've been friends since we were 9, 10 years old. He has a company called Zero Gravity Arts, which is amazing. It's one of the most innovative, coolest things I've ever been a part of, aside from Cirque. He started shows at EDC, acrobatics, tramp wall, power track, and he had the idea to create this image of LED ninjas or superheroes or robots or whatever, and it goes with that that theme and that scene. So he messaged me and I decided to do it. It was a group of quite a few people, a couple guys from MJ1, a really talented group of people, acrobats from all over. And we did 4 sets a night, 3 to 4 sets a night. First set was just after sunset. Last set was at 4 o'clock in the morning. The sets were about, I can't remember, like 4 or 5 minutes long. And it was, I get chills right now talking about it. Just doing what you love to do with your best friends in front of thousands of people. Like you look out at the crowd and you can't even see where the crowd ends. To some of my personally favorite DJs, and to be there with the speakers right there, your friends, the crowd screaming. You know, when you turn the lights on in the suits, you just turn into this like a superhero. It's unbelievable. So that's how it came about. And then we just kind of went from there. After EDC, I did Paradiso the next weekend. We loaded up the tramp wall in the back, drove up to Paradiso, which is at the Gorge in Washington, and did some tramp wall at that festival, which was really cool. Another experience where I grew a lot and had a great time. And no one does anything like what he's doing. That's the coolest thing about it. And he's got his stamp on it, and he's the boss.
It looks like we sort of lost him for a little bit. Well, when David comes back, for those of you that don't know, EDC is actually Central Electric Daisy Carnival, and it's sort of a electronic music festival. It used to be held in LA, but it is now in Las Vegas. In LA, it was during the day, and in Vegas, it's actually all night long. I think it starts like from 6 or 7 p.m. and it goes all the way to like 5 or 6 a.m. And it's crazy. I did it once, 1 year, and I couldn't do all 3 nights all the way till it ended, because it was just crazy. So I can imagine how tiring that would be if you're actually up there performing all night long. I mean, you probably slept the entire day, the day after.
Yeah, man, it's hard, but like, you know, like when you get in front of that many people, it's just like it was crazy. I felt tired, of course, at times, and it was 109 degrees in the morning. It was really hot, but it didn't matter. Like, you know, those moments don't come along in your life very often, so you suck it up. Just roll with it.
Our friend Doug is saying that Dan Locke, he works in Curios, he also works for Zero Gravity.
Who?
So
yeah. So basically, Dave Locke. Basically, it's like we're a brotherhood. There's a tight group of us, and the reason that is he keeps it within that group. So we all know each other, push each other through social media, like videos of each other doing stuff. We get together and perform. It's like you're with family when you're on stage. Dave Locke is mad talented. I think it's cool when a Cirque artist does multiple shows. I think it's special. I think it's hard. I think it's for somebody to have that ability to just pop into a show and kill it and do things in that. Like, he's got the sickest style I've ever seen. And, you know, Cirque likes lines, Cirque likes pretty stuff, but he just does it. He has so much style and steez when he's in the air and so much control that, you know, if you guys know Ka, the boat that rocks, he did full from the boat, which is a double backflip with 2 full twists. And that's special, you know, somebody that can just hop in and do that kind of stuff. Super talented. He pushes me indirectly through social media. He does Roosier as well. I actually spent some time with him in Reno this summer. He was doing a gig there. So he loves his one wheel, rides around on his one wheel. If you don't have one, you should get one. They're really cool. They're a good way to get around.
So a good way for me to fall on my face.
Then you should definitely try it and record.
They're not that bad. They're not that bad.
So if you're on contract with Cirque, and then sometimes you guys get 2 weeks off, or when you're transferring to a new city, are you able to go and for example do a side gig? Are you allowed to do that?
You have to speak with them. It has to be okayed. As far as I know, when you're doing shows, you're not. You're specifically contracted for the shows. But because of the delay, we were able to work, which I'm super thankful for, because, you don't think about 5 months off as being like a long, some people think it's a long time, but it is a long time. And I wanted to perform and do things, well, number one, because I like to perform and be in front of people, but number two, not to lose the edge. Because it's easy, like if I'm in Boise, Idaho, or Reno, or I'm doing, mountain biking or fishing, like that's not the same as doing crazy acrobatics in front of thousands of people. So I wanted to keep that edge, and I'm thankful I had the opportunity to, because I'm coming into Corteo. I grew in this 5 months as much as I did in Totem over the 5 years.
So I know you were doing, doing acrobatics, and you were sort of having a break, but did you still miss being in the show, like being in front of a Cirque audience, being on that stage?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I didn't miss the makeup, to be honest with you. But there's certain things about what Cirque is and what Cirque does and how it's ran. All of the connections you have with people before you go on stage and after you go on stage, and the cues. Like I miss the moments on stage where you connect with people, and you're touring with those people, so they're your family. So there's moments on stage and inside jokes and things you do that make the shows fun and make the show. You find ways to make it interesting because you're doing them all the time. That's the stuff I miss, and I look forward to being on a show like Corteo, where you are like, the people in the show are what make the show. Like Totem has the elaborate costumes, like how do you say it? Like shiny type of costumes, very outgoing, very colorful, very bright. Then the projections, the music. But Corteo, it's the people that make it. It's like a live movie in front of you. The scenes where you have. And I don't know much about Corteo, to be honest with you, which I really like. But I just remember scenes of people hitting the drums and processions and that kind of thing. And they really tell a story with people and everybody being on stage together, which makes it like a live movie. And it's both sides, so it's like it's a full experience rather than us being on stage and you just being back and watching.
So what didn't you like about the makeup? Is it the actual process or having the makeup on you?
Just the frog makeup, like the glitter around the eyes. It's like when you sweat, like underneath the monkey masks. The touch-ups are a nightmare. You got to spend at least like 10, 15, 20 minutes a show, second half before finale, touching up your makeup, because especially when it's hot. Because it's the green dots kind of fade, the red dots fade, the color, you want to make your face bright, and the colors all really fade. And then sometimes I get a little itchy. Sometimes. And also like frog make, it just gets everywhere. It's not like, it gets everywhere. It gets, if you wear a sweatshirt, it's all over your sweatshirt. So yeah, and it takes an hour, every day. And to get the glitter off, like the glue, you got to take oil and you really got to like rub and scrub your skin.
I think the makeup is cool though.
No, it's really cool. Trust
makeup,
me.
Yeah.
You look at yourself in the mirror, and I'm always like, wow. This is crazy.
So Aiden made a comment about Tom Wall. I don't know if you know this, if this is true. Tom Wall, the juggler in Totem, he joined the Japan tour one day before it began as a replacement.
Yeah, man. We had a show condition. Like, they told us that he was coming in, and we're like, all right, you know. And we're like, man, we're going to do premiere without scientists. Like, it's happening. You know, and it's in Japan, where they like to have all the accents. So, like, we don't really know if this is going to work, if it's going to happen. So we had to come in early for a show condition. Lo and behold, was warming up, and I'm like, hey, man, how you feeling? It's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. We go in. We ran through the act one time, and he came out, and everyone kind of looked at each other, and we're like, we feel good. And the director was like, I feel pretty good. So he went in that night, and took a nap beforehand. Tom is a specimen, man. He's one of the best jugglers in the world, hands down. The guy trains every morning when I come into work, because we come in early, because obviously we're the beginning of the show. He's always there juggling. He's just so cool to see him, always recording himself, getting better, doing new things. He does things like bouncing a ball on his head while jumping rope. Then he'll do things like bounce the ball on the ball on his head while spinning a ring on his foot while juggling 5 balls, like that kind of stuff. And he's just super talented. Pleasure to work with. Stand-up guy. He's funny.
Was he not
we had
nervous?
some good moments. I think Tom he's done so much, and he's juggled for so long, and he's so comfortable. I mean, obviously we all get a little bit nervous, but he handled it like a pro. If he was nervous, I couldn't see it. I couldn't tell. So,
how long does it normally take to get someone integrated into the show?
Like from scratch?
Yeah, like for example, if Tom were not to have been a last-minute replacement, how long would it have taken him to be integrated?
It depends on what you do. To be honest with you, depends on the apparatus. Like, he had to go to juggling in a cone, right? Or the person has to. Juggling normal and juggling in a cone are 2 totally different things. And then getting in and out of the cone and learning the manipulation and the walking of the track, the cue marks, and cues for the production manager. And it's different than if it were for me. Like, that's a solo act. Whereas I'm going into a group act, so the integration might be a little bit slower and longer for me. Or it just depends on the demands of the show. It depends on the learning ability of the artist and the comfortability of the other people in the number. So I would say like roughly between 2 weeks, like a week to 2 weeks, maybe a little bit longer.
So Matt Hart says that he met you in Sydney back in November 2014. And right now he's actually the current head coach, and he's with Cirque, and he looks forward to working with you.
On Corteo?
Yeah, on Corteo. He's in Montreal right now, and he's Corteo's head coach.
Yeah. I'm excited. He's Chris Bowler's friend. He was a coach on Totem. Yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Locked and loaded.
And then we do have another question. Mari Trejo wants to know, what acts are you performing in Corteo, if you're able to tell us?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I obviously did high bar and Totem, and I did power track. And if you watch my my video on YouTube, I bounce on my back on the power track and go up to a rail. So if you can put 2 and 2 together.
Well, turning is a given, I guess, because that was part of the original the show. So, okay, can you say how many acts you'll be doing?
No, I mean, it's trampo bed and tourniquet.
Okay. Yeah.
Trampo bed. I mean, these are acts that have been in the show for a long time.
Right.
I'm super excited to it's funny coming from a show like Totem because the projections take care of a lot. There's not a lot of cues, and there's a lot of specialty acts. So there's no house troupe, really, if you think about it, which is where you would do, normally, most Cirque shows, you do 2 acts. So for me to be able to do an act early in the show, get warmed up, if you've seen Trampo Bed, the videos, it's a fun act. Your kids, you're playing around, you're having a ball. That's my style, and I like that kind of movement, and that's how I like to do my stuff. And then Tornik is the premier high bar act in the world, in my opinion, hands down, best high bar act in the world. It like rivals, Alegria was special and Mystere were special because they were aerial acts, but in terms of pure high bar, no one has done it better. I don't know if you saw the Tornik training video on YouTube of the guys at Corteo, but if you have not seen that video, I highly suggest you watch it because there are some sequences that have never been done before. I watch it and it pumps me up. So I watched it hundreds of times. I'm excited.
Do you find that you've been, or have you been watching any Corteo videos sort of like prepare you, or do you just want to go in there without, seeing anything, not knowing exactly? Because you said you haven't seen the show. You didn't see the show, right?
Yeah, I just have never had the opportunity. I've watched it on DVD, and I have not watched it all the way through. I've just seen the teeterboard act, which the teeterboard act is amazing, especially the clown part where he runs up and jumps on the board and the big guy, he goes nowhere. I think that was hilarious. The other night watching that. But I've seen Parody, I've seen Tornik, Trampo Bed, the ladder acts. I don't know the name of it. But honestly, I would like to go in with no expectations, clear mind. Like when you go to see a movie, in the movie theaters, if you read a bunch of reviews and stuff, it kind of gives you this predetermined notion of what it's going to be. And for me, I would just like to show up, learn the concepts and what the story is from the people that have done it and the people that created it and the people that, were there. And then hopefully, I'm a creative person, so any ideas that run wild in my mind, have a good mix, because I just think that anytime a show is recreated and rebirthed, it's a new version. It's a new version. So, it's got a new life. It's pretty cool, actually. Like OVO, you look at OVO and it's killing like it was before, but it's completely different. So, it's like I compare it to like athletes or teams that go through phases and they come out, they go, through a quiet phase and then they come out and they're way better. So I'm just excited.
Do you know if, for example, on, when a show goes to Arena, does the original, if he's still available, does the original director come and help out in any way, or is this just like the artistic director, or do you have a different
Honestly,
director?
I have no idea. But what I do know is that anytime a show goes through a change, obviously the director who created it, like they want that input because that's the guy. So like I know when Totem went through changes with Escalade and Contortion, Robert Lepage came and visited us and worked with us. So I can only imagine that it would be the same. I can't see it being any different than that.
And based on the information that you know about, when the show was in the tent and whatever you know now, for the Arena version, are there like a lot of changes? Do you know, if you can talk about it, do you know anything about the stage changing? Because Corteo was different. We talked about, Corteo not coming back. We thought it wasn't coming back because of the stage, because of, the patient structure. And a lot of people are wondering, is it going to be sort of the same stage, split in half, or are we getting a sort of normal, only one side stage?
The engineering is what made it come to Arena. People just figured out how to make it work. Because of how special it is and it being double-sided, I can only imagine that they keep it that way. I don't know for sure. Kind of know as much as you guys do. I'll find out. But regardless of whether it's single-sided or double-sided, it's going to be bad A.
Right. Well, when are you actually joining or flying to Montreal? Because you're flying out pretty soon, or somewhat soon.
A couple weeks. Yeah, a couple weeks.
But there are some of the artists have already flown to Montreal and started, correct?
Yeah.
And so, do you know like what you're going to be doing as soon as you get there? Are you going straight into the show, or is there some sort of other sort of training that you have to do prior to starting on the recreation?
Like when I'm at home?
When you fly out to Montreal to join?
Oh, I just know any creation process. Once you arrive in Montreal, they've obviously got stuff ready for you, and you just start the process. Anytime you integrate into a show, whether it's a recreation or anything, you just get to work, pick up the brush, and you start painting. That's a good way of putting it.
Maddie Segura wants to know how much stuff you're actually taking with you on tour.
Arena is way different,
right?
So, yeah, Big Top. You can have up to. It's a lot of luggage, and not like normal luggage, like a carry bag. Like you can have a box, and most people have stuff for kitchen. Like you got your cooking stuff, you got decorations for your room, you got obviously summer clothes, winter clothes, shoes, and then if you're a girl, you've got unlimited amounts of everything. So no, but Arena, you got 2 suitcases, that's it. 2 pieces of luggage. So I'll have one bag with obviously my clothes and stuff like that, depending on the time of year, because in Arena you get to go home more often, every 10 weeks. So I'll be able to change out like winter, summer stuff. But in my other bag, I have my golf clubs, my fly rod, my fishing vest, and my one wheel. That's pretty much in my bag. Like, yeah, that's what I'll have.
What are you most excited about from Corteo?
For the show or for?
Yeah, either for the show, being in the show, or yeah, basically from what's happening with Corteo.
I'm excited to swing high bar without a trampoline underneath it. I'm excited to do pure high bar. I'm excited to do an act where I can let my qualities of an artist shine. I'm not hidden behind a mask. I'm excited because one of my weaknesses as an artist, and I'll say it like truthfully, is without frog makeup or Crystal Man, I can be kind of shy and reserved, because when it's your bare face, it's different, you know? So to have the opportunity to grow that way, and everything I've heard because Hideto was in Totem, Fabio, Luis Santos was in Totem, and they're 2 brothers of mine. Part of my decision process to go to Corteo was talking to them, and when I saw them talk about Corteo and how lit up they were and how happy. Another guy is David Henderson, who was on Corteo. All these guys are like older brothers to me, and they told them you could just see their hearts shine, because it's a show of passion and feeling, and there's a lot of emotion in it. So and you can be yourself on stage. You can be a man. I get to be a kid. I get to be a man. I get to, play with different parts of my life with different emotions, and project whether I'm happy, sad, mad, angry. When you step on stage, you control whatever emotion that is, but you project it and you let it be your character, and you be a strong character. So that's what I'm excited for in terms of the show. And I'm actually excited to tour the US again, because with Totem, I was in cities like for a long period of time, like New York, Philly, Columbus. We did California. And with Corteo, I'm excited to go to parts of the US that I have not been. With everything that's happening in our country, when I was traveling, it was hard for me to see what was happening in my own country and be so distant and not really understand what was going on. So for me to be in my home country, close to my family, which was a big reason why I joined Corteo, I'm excited for the US, which is crazy as that sounds, because Totem's in Belgium right now, Brussels. They're going to Madrid, Barcelona, Seville, Switzerland, Zurich, Paris. Like, those are all really cool places. But for me, just as an American, I think it's an important time to be home. I'll get to Europe, trust me. I'll get there, but just now's not the time.
And if you stay long enough, you'll eventually make it to Austin.
Yeah, right.
Since you have
show me some. I heard the food is amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I heard the food is really good.
So earlier we were talking about, before we went live, we were talking about your hair. Did you have to grow out your hair?
It's really long. It's really long. I know I didn't. It wasn't like it wasn't a part of my contract. You know, it wasn't like grow your hair out. But like, I know the style of the show. You know, and Fabio on Totem, he grew out his hair, and it just looks so good. I'm like, man, like, your hair looks really beautiful. And he's like, why don't you grow your hair out? So this is the longest it's ever been in my life. I actually have had some hard time with it. Like, one thing I realized is you can't drive in the truck with the windows rolled down with your hair down, because it just goes everywhere. That was one thing I learned. I had to pull over and tie my hair up, which I'd never done before. And the first time I tied my hair up, I took my shoe lace out from my shoe because I didn't have a hair tie. And I used the shoelace to tie up my hair. It was horrible. And then it started falling down in my face. But yeah, I'm used to it now. It's a part of me. And I'm not bothered by it. And my dad calls me Goldilocks. It's pretty funny.
Are you like at a comfortable length right now, or are you gonna let it grow more?
No, it's good. It's good where it's at. I get it shaped and it feels good. It feels free. I don't want a mullet or anything like that. I can't rock it. Some people, I don't know. I don't want to do a man bun, like the shave the side, because I can't rock that either.
I don't think anyone should rock that. Just my opinion.
Plus, that would probably look weird in the show.
And I would grow. We can have facial hair if you show up. Like, the thing is, like, if you show up to Montreal and they like it and you look good, you keep it, right? In Corteo, some of the guys have facial hair, but me, I can't grow enough hair on my face to make it look good. So just keep it clean.
But is that only for Corteo? Like, if you have facial hair, you can keep it for Corteo, but not for the other shows?
It's so specific with the characters and your conversations with wardrobe, and it has to be a decision that it's made artistically. Like, the artist doesn't really have any say. Like, I mean, I guess you could ask, but 9 out of 10 times they'll say no. Which is, you know, if you're like, there's no hairy frogs, you know, keep it clean. Kind of thing.
Very true. All right, so Sean says, great interview, Dave, and he's looking forward to seeing you. I'm not.
Who, Sean Gregory?
Sean Lomax. I'm not sure if that means that he's joining the show or not. But so yeah, Sean was the loyal whistler. And Maddie.
Oh,
yeah.
I've never met him, but he's amazing.
Indeed.
Yeah, I was watching the video on my hard drive because I have the DVD, and I was going through the acts, like I said, and I was watching the acrobatic numbers, right? And then he goes on stage, like at the end of Trample Bed, I believe, and he cracks the whip. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. I want to learn how to crack a whip like that. And then I found the part in the show where he starts whistling. And I was like, man, that cannot be real. And I'm like, no, it's definitely real. And I know I'm probably going to hear it all day at backstage and at the show, and I'm totally okay with that. Like, I, for one, suck at whistling. I'm horrible. I can't whistle to save my life. So I would definitely be down to learn a little bit. But his presence as I think he's kind of like the tracker or like the narrator of the show. I'm not sure.
Like the ringmaster, sort of.
Yeah, the ringmaster. He's one of the most important parts. So one thing about me, and I'm a sponge, and I watch things at work, and I watch people, and I learn from people without them even really knowing. So to be around somebody like that, who's been with the show for a long time, who's super talented and love what he does, I can't wait to be around that. So Sean, I'm honored, man. Let's get to it.
And Mr. Nemesis 2003 wants to know what other Cirque shows you've seen and which one is your favorite.
So I've seen, and I wish I could have seen these shows in Big Top because I just don't think Arena did it justice. I saw Alegria in Arena. I saw Duralion in Arena. And I saw Lanuba in, Lanuba was the first Cirque show I saw in Orlando when I was like 12. And then I've seen Mystere, I've seen Love, I've seen MJ1, I've seen Ka. I've seen everything but Zumanity in terms of Vegas, everything except Zumanity and the Chris Angel show. But I've seen everything else. My favorite one, man, and it was one of the last shows I saw. Mystere is freaking cool. Like, I don't know why, but Tim Smith, my first AD when I got to Totem, he's the AD there now. And that show, like O and Mystere, Lanuba, like those three shows. And I'm sure Alegria is one of my favorites ever. But those shows in person, for some reason, I think it's like the OG Cirque. You know, it's like you see stuff that's OG. That the level of artistry in those shows is crazy, especially Mystere. Just that, like, I don't know if I remember saying this, but my coach when I was a kid, Oleg Dmitriev, was part of the Flying Cranes in the Moscow Circus, and they came over and they did a show in Reno called Arius, and it was like the movement in that show that I saw as a kid and the way that the Flying Cranes move, Mystere reminded me a lot of that. So when I saw Mystere, it kind of struck like a deep part of me. Just the kookiness of the way that the birds look and the way that they move, and the colors and the music and I wish I could have seen it with Teeterboard and well, Teeterboard's still there, but the Trampolines. I never got to see it with Trampolines. I just saw it this summer, so I didn't get to see High Bar either. But still, like that, and the music. And the clowns, oh gosh, the clowns are so funny. It was cool. It made me feel.
I love that stage. It's one of my favorite stages. You don't expect it to do that.
Right?
And when it does, it's so magical. And you're like, this is why I love Cirque, because it takes me out of my body. And the music and all the creatures coming out to greet you. Yeah, Mystere's up there. I mean, the three you mentioned are all Franco Dragone. He was the epitome of Cirque, you know.
Yeah, he has his own touch, and it was, you know, Franco's known to do water shows, right?
Yeah.
So it was cool to see him do something that's not. I mean, like, I didn't know that he did. I should have known this. I guess you guys know him a little bit more than me. I didn't know he did Lanuba and Mystere, but it makes sense.
And Alegria.
Cool. Yeah, Alegria. I love Alegria because it's I'll agree. It's a show make you cry, man. Straight up. It's cool.
By the way, Ricky is loving you right now because Mysterio is like his favorite show. So
Yeah,
he loves.
and just like I know Mysterio's gone through a refresh, and Tim Smith, that AD, he's freaking awesome, man. That guy, he brought me to Totem, and he is the kind of leader. I can't say enough good things about the guy, and I could see his personal touch on the show. The way the dancers move, the intensity with which they move, the sharpness with which they moved, everything was spot on. So yeah.
Are any other people that or anyone from Totem or that you work with Totem joining Corteo as well, or is it just you that you know of?
Hideto-san.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that?
Hideto-san. Hideto, who's been with Corteo for 10 years. He was with them for 10 years, I think. He was the captain at one point in time, and we've swung together in Totem. So what's really cool is I'm going to Corteo with a partner, with somebody that I'm comfortable with on the bar, which is really cool. Him and I can't wait to see him. It's been a minute. It's too long.
All right, and
It's like seeing him.
let's see here. Yeah, a lot of people are agreeing with you with Myster and the Dragon shows. I'm not sure if this question is for you, but Houston wants to know, how do you feel about Volta? We weren't live when you mentioned it, but I don't think you've seen Volta.
No, I haven't. I have not seen Volta. From what I've seen, the swinging rings act looks crazy. Like when they did the quad triples, like that was super cool. For those of you that like don't really understand like what that entails, it's impressive. My friend Jan Arnaud I don't know, he spins the fastest of anybody I know. Hanging from his hands, it's insane. And in Totem, he would do the spin on the rings, and now he has a solo in Volta that he whips out, and it's like no one can do that. Like, I never seen anybody put together like one single ring, like a spinning sequence like him. Just from what I've seen though, I think the costumes are cool, the color's cool. I need to listen to the soundtrack. But like any show that starts, I think you guys should always take it with a grain of salt, because some shows take a while to click, and every show, once it clicks, is impressive and amazing. Some shows have road bumps, some shows go through some struggles, and that's completely normal. You know, some pieces of art take a lot longer than others, but they end up, being equal, so I need to see it.
Aiden wants to know if you have any pre-show rituals.
Pre-show rituals. Yeah. It's pretty funny. Some, like, it depends on the day, it depends on the mood. I'm a very, I always try to get myself to the same state before I go on stage, and so pre-show rituals, dancing. I tend to do some shuffling. I shuffle before the show, put on some techno, put on some deep house, and just start shuffling around, because it's good for your legs, it's good for your calves, it's good for rhythm, puts me in my happy place. Some mornings is Bob Marley, and I flow around. I talk a lot. I talk a lot when I'm on the floor warming up. I talk ish to people. We just joke around. But then one thing I do is I say the Hail Mary before I go through the black curtain. That's my way. When I say it, it helps me just focus in on one thing. And it gets my mind in the mindset of just focusing on that one thing. I go through what I'm going to do on stage. I picture myself killing it. And visualization is really important. And fist bumps I do handshakes with a lot of people. Picked it up from basketball. I think it's fun to do handshakes with people. Handshakes are always something we do underneath the carapace. We would do that with each other. And I know for Cirque, like before people go on stage, like handshakes are very common. So that's a pre-ritual. But me personally, it's just shuffling. It's the Hail Mary to get focused. I do a lot of movement stuff as well. Like you'll see me over in the corner, like throwing my arms down, doing the orangutan Conor McGregor walk. It just helps me feel loose and flowy. I do a lot of body waves with my spine, just stuff to loosen me up. Because when you go on stage, you have a tendency to tighten, especially when it's new or you're not feeling good, so just making sure that I'm in a loose, focused state. And one last thing that I do that not many people know is I man roar.
You what?
Example?
I don't want to do it because it'd be really loud.
Oh,
It won't.
No, you just give like a really loud roar, and it just gets everything out.
So you do that backstage in front of everyone?
Yeah. Not backstage. I do it. I find different places to do it, whether it's outside when I'm warming up, because I like to warm up outside. It just depends. It can happen in any place at any time. But I make sure. Yeah, I make sure that it won't disrupt people. Like I'm very aware of my surroundings when I do it, but it's something that just gets me going.
So you're not like, some artists after warming up or whatever, they're sort of just sitting, waiting for their cue, either they're reading or something, just being peaceful or quiet, but that's totally not you.
No, I am. I'm just like, when you shuffle with headphones on, no one hears you, no one sees you. I might be outside or somewhere doing something. When I stretch, I'm really quiet. There's moments where I get focused and I seem very serious. I might seem mad, but I'm not. It's just me being very internal and focused and making sure that my mind is ready to go for the show. But Totem, like what I'm talking about with the loudness and being funny, like that's Totem. To realize like that's an Allegria like Russian bar team that's been there for years, the Russians, and they love to talk. Like they love to talk. We talk crap to each other. We have fun. We joke around. Massimo, the roller skater, he's loud. He's Italian. When you come in the morning, Massimo come like, oh, okay, like he will yell and scream like, "Where's my guys?" Wow, David, you look so beautiful today. What's going on? And he comes by me and slaps me in the back of the neck. So it's just that constant play. That's where it comes from, and it keeps it light.
So
it's Massimo. Massimo's the spirit of Totem.
He seems very awesome, very fun to be around.
Super cool.
So Roel wants to know, do you ever get tired of doing the same routine every show? He says he would lose his mind doing the same thing every day for years.
Like I said, the stage becomes a place of sanctuary for a lot of artists. It becomes a place where they go into a form of meditation. What I mean by that is everything else that's happening in life goes away. And even though you're doing the same thing, you find ways to connect with people. You find ways to challenge yourself. You find ways to get better and make things better. One thing that people do that I know of is you find one person in the audience and you make them feel something. Like you pick a seat, and every seat, at that same seat, there's somebody different. So it reminds you that you're always performing to a fresh crowd. I think seeing the show, like most shows will have artists watch the show like once every 6 months or something like that. So you'll sit in the crowd and you'll watch. And what it does for you is it reminds you that what we might think is the same thing all the time, it's the first time for those people. And that it kind of reminds you and wakes you up, and it's like, wow, you know, they don't know that I did a show. They're not thinking that I've done this 1,000 times. You know, they're there in the moment, and it reminds us to be there in the moment. So luckily on Totem, I was able to change between Crystal Man and Frog, and there's multiple different tracks as a Frog. So it's not really that it's the same act, but it's not always the same skill set.
Right. And then let's see, do you, Dario, Richard, do you guys have any questions?
For once, I'm just, you know, I'm just happy to listen. You know, he's very thorough, this guy. He kind of knows what we're going to ask, and it's already there before I get a chance to. It's like he sets it up, and then he answers it, so I'm good. I mean, I just appreciate what you do, obviously, and I cannot wait till it comes to Denver, because I'm going to be there every performance. Trust me. But it's what makes my life good, and to see the human side of it is the most important part to me. And talking to you, and then being able to follow you on Facebook and see your life, and then see those awesome videos you posted all summer, it just makes me super excited, you know?
Did you see the EDC video?
I watched them all, man. I showed them to a couple friends that are really into that stuff, and they're like, if I saw that at a live show, I'd shit my pants, because it's all of a sudden it new again, and you look like you were having a blast, dude. You could just tell.
We did.
You guys were. Every moment was pure energy and fun, and I appreciate that side of being a Cirque fan. Is just seeing the human side of it.
Yeah, the one video that has not come out yet that will is we did tramp wall in LED suits during the solar eclipse.
Okay, like that needs to come out.
We were literally like the sky, you know, like because we were in Madras, Oregon. So we had 2 minutes of full eclipse, and the eclipse happened, and it got so cold. It was crazy. And it went black. And like my friend was like, David, go. And I was just stuck staring at the freaking eclipse. Like, and I turned my suit on, and I just felt like I was like literally in space. In a way, like I was watching, I didn't even do any skills. I was supposed to do this cool solo, and I didn't even do like half my solo because I was staring at the eclipse while I was like on the tramp wall, like up there, like, you know, it's blowing my mind. So thank you for the 5 months off, because I would have never done that. And I was the only person running tramp wall during the solar eclipse in the whole world. So
that's awesome.
You know, those are experiences that money can't buy that. With your best friends too. But like that's the other thing. It doesn't get any better. Thank you for doing this. I mean,
yeah, we're ending soon. But Roel wants to know, which celebrity were you most excited to see backstage at the show?
Give me a second. Who was I most excited to see, or like who was the coolest? Because sometimes you don't know that they're okay. So let me. I have to like jog my memory. Well, first off, I think Kelly Rowland's a babe, so seeing her was like really cool. And then Zoe, the girl who played the Avatar, what's her name?
Saldana.
She was really cool. She called me. She's like, your Crystal Man costume looks like Ziggy Stardust. That was really cool. She was really cool, really down to earth. You know who was, and I know Johnny Depp. Man, there was something to that guy. Like he had some aura, some like weird. And he hung out with us. Like he stayed backstage for like 45 minutes after the show. And I gave him a necklace. Like it was like some janky, like stupid chain. And it had like an old 1920s typewriter key that had the letter D on it. Because for his last name, Johnny Depp. And so I gave it to him. and he accepted it, put it on right away. And funny thing about Johnny Depp, and I think it's why it's the most impressionable in my mind, is because I went out to the bathroom before intermission, and during that time at Totem, Russian bars warming up, people's second half are warming up. There's not a lot of movement out back behind the tent. I go out to go to the bathroom, and he's sitting there on a black crate. And like, it stopped me in my tracks, and no one was talking to him. Like, no one knew he was there. So I went up and I started talking to him. And he said some pretty profound things. He said, "You guys are lucky." And I was like, "Oh, why?" It's coming from Johnny Depp, you know, like, dude, you're lucky. You have, you know, but for him, it was, you guys can express yourselves and tour the world, and nobody knows who you are. You guys can go do your thing on stage. He can't go anywhere. He's, you know, he flies private jets. He's got security guards. He's got an entourage. So for him to say that to me, like, to be, like, it made me be really thankful of what I've got and what I'm doing. Said my makeup was trippy. And I was, in my head, I was like, likewise, dude, you look, because he just came from the Pirates of the Caribbean set when we were in Brisbane, Australia. So he had like a tooth in, like a lot of mascara. But like his energy was crazy. Like, it makes, like, everybody, when we were inside the tent, with other celebrities, it's commotion, you know? And like, you just want to take a picture and they don't really talk too much, but he was like, everyone just shut up. And like, it was a spectacle. And he was also super chill and down to earth. And Javier Bardem came with him, and like Alejandro, the band leader, and Massimo and Denise, like, they were talking to Javier Bardem like it was family. Like, you know how Spanish people and Italian people are. So it was cool to just, they were really cool. Like, they're the most memorable, for me. Oh, and Jessica Alba was really cool as well. She's really sweet, really nice. She's beautiful.
Do you know ahead of time if any celebrities are going to be in the audience?
For what?
Like, if a celebrity is going to see the show, no, like, to go see the show, do you guys know ahead of time?
Sometimes. You know what's funny though is, like, some of the Russians don't know people. they don't know, like, but it's normal. And likewise, like, so we don't know some of like their celebrities that come backstage. So like, somebody will pull out a magazine or like look them up on, or play the song of the artist or like whatever it is, and then people get all jazzed and excited. So definitely, if we know, sometimes we know beforehand, submission, but typically we know. Yeah. I
Does
just
that
thought
make you
back to
nervous?
this one. Does it make you nervous?
Like, does it make you
somebody
nervous?
When Johnny Depp was there, people were tripping, man. It was like there are a couple people like him. Who else? When we were in Santa Monica, there were a few people. So yeah, you know Katsuni? Do you know who Katsuni is?
Oh, that sounds familiar.
I don't.
No. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, not talk. I don't think we should talk about it.
Why?
Okay. Well, she's a French porn star, and she came and saw the show, and she's into circus. She came in New York, and I couldn't figure out why so many people were nervous. Like, I was like, especially the French guys. She came backstage, and she was with her boyfriend, and she got into circus stuff. So that's why she came and saw the show. And I just remember people running out of the tent to go say hello. And Steve-O was there that day as well. Steve-O from Jackass was there. And he's super cool. He's good friends with Pipo, who's the Valentino on Totem. Yeah, those are some of the stories about some celebrities.
Well, cool, man. Aiden just wanted to say thank you so much for answering all of our questions today and bringing so much joy and excitement on stage. He says to them it's a true gem, and he's looking forward to seeing you on Corteo.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm humbled. So.
Hey, do you have any final thoughts, words before we end this?
Just come and see Corteo. I think it's special that they're bringing it back, and I know it's going to be new and reinvented. So, you know, if you've already seen it and you think you've already seen it, you haven't really seen what's going to come. So, yeah. The only other thing I have to say is love and respect each other. Like, one thing I'll say, like, from traveling and being away from the United States, you don't understand how good we have it in the country that we live in. So the only thing that I can really say from traveling and being in places where I've been the minority is to love one another, treat each other with respect and how you want to be treated. And coming from working with international people, everybody has something special to give and offer. So that's some deep-ish right there, I guess. But I just think it should be said because it's hit me pretty hard coming back home. So.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for answering all our questions. It's definitely been fun. It's our first live stream, so really the first time we'll be taking questions from people who are watching as we're talking. So we'll definitely do it again. And yeah, you know, good luck in Corteo. We're definitely excited that it's coming back. It's definitely going to be a special show because of that. We thought it was gone forever, and then, you know, we're getting it back. So we're definitely going to see it. Maddie says it better go to California.
Oh my!
And then, hold on, let me put you on. See, that's your poster signed by everyone.
Yeah.
Oh my!
That's my family. You can see. That's pretty crazy, huh? So I just wanted to show that to you guys.
That was bad.
Totem's just. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And like I said, we'll see you on stage in Corteo. And good luck on you know, when you go to Montreal and start the entire recreation process. But that will be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be intense. From everything I've heard about creations, it's intense. It's a lot, but you know, instead of a 2-week integration that I had on Totem, I get to really be a part of this show from the beginning. Even though it's been touring, the bond you form with people when you go through this process is super special, and I can't wait to get to Corteo and like how it is in Cirque, people become family. It's almost like you're blood related. So I look forward to it.
Awesome. Well, good luck. And for those of you that are still watching, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter at CirqueCast. And we are definitely going to do another live stream in the future. And then our next episode will be our interview with Majo Cornejo, which is a singer in Lucia. That should be coming up soon. And again, David, thank you.
Hopefully before we see it again.
Yeah, hope we'll see. But yeah, thanks, David. Good luck, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Boom. Pound it.